What is up, guys? Dzeeff here, and late last night we got some new support revealed, not only for the Egyptian gods, which we've been getting over the past couple of weeks, but evil gods as well, which is really wild, by the way. This is pretty insane because we've gotten Sacred Beast support, we've gotten the Winged Dragon of Ra support, we recently got Obelisk and Slifer and generic Egyptian god card support, but the evil gods don't really get a lot of support. I mean, most people don't even really know about them, at least not as much as the Egyptian gods or the Sacred Beasts. I know I made a video about them a long time ago, and I know some people are fans of them, but this was pretty surprising when I saw it, especially because it's on one card that is supporting the Egyptian gods and the evil gods. Now, this card is not from the Egyptian god box that's being released. This is from Premium Pack 2021 in the OCG. Who knows when we'll see these cards in the TCG format. Personally, I would not be holding my breath for them because they'll probably take a while to get here. As far as the other cards revealed, I mean, there were plenty of other ones, but we're going to look at a couple of them after this card. But let's take a look at Divine Evolution first. If you guys enjoy watching today's video, make sure to subscribe after watching it because we are currently very close to 140,000 subscribers, which is just really crazy. Divine Evolution is a normal spell card that says this card's activation and effect cannot be negated, so already we're off to a pretty good start. Choose one monster you control that hasn't already had the effect of Divine Evolution applied to it, whose original type is Divine Beast, so that would be all of the original Egyptian gods, or whose original name is the Wicked Avatar, the Wicked Dreadroot, or the Wicked Eraser. And if you do, it gains 1000 attack and defense. Also, its effects activations cannot be negated. Also, its activated effects cannot be negated. Also, it gains this effect. When it declares an attack, you can make your opponent send one monster they control to the graveyard. So that is kind of like an evenly matched because your opponent does get to choose the card, you don't get to choose it. But overall, it's still a pretty cool card. And yeah, if you declare an attack and your opponent only has one monster and they're forced to send that monster to the graveyard, a replay will happen and you can hit them for a lot of damage directly. Now, if you've watched that old Why Nobody Plays video, you'll already know that the evil gods are really bad. Even before the recent Sacred Beast and Egyptian god support, the evil gods were way worse than either of those two archetypes. The evil gods are just so bad. I mean, these cards are awful. The Wicked Eraser saw a tiny amount of play, a teeny tiny amount of play, because you could destroy it in your hand and then blow up the field. But as far as the Wicked Dreadroot and the Wicked Avatar go, these cards are really rough. Now, I know these cards have their fans. I certainly have read plenty of comments from people that think the Wicked Avatar is one of the best monsters in the game, and I have no idea what I'm talking about. But we know from tournament results, and we know just from basic deck building, that these cards are not very good, even on a casual level. But what is exciting about this new piece of support, even if it's not enough to truly make these cards viable in like casual play, is that this means Konami is acknowledging their existence, which is more than we could have said for a very long time. This gets me excited because it means that maybe Konami will be willing to give the evil gods even more support, which would be pretty cool. Now, with the Egyptian gods, Divine Evolution is a lot more interesting. I don't think it's that good with Slifer because you would have to lose a card out of your hand because you are using this card, so the 1000 attack and defense gain isn't really that relevant. But I think with Ra and maybe Obelisk, this card could be a pretty cool addition to those decks. Ra especially because that just got a ton of support recently, and obviously the new Monarch Stormforth card that all of the god cards got could be really good in combination with Divine Evolution. I've played both on and off stream with those Ra cards. I mean, I even made a video about it, and a lot of the time I was like just barely short from OTKing my opponent, so Divine Evolution could give me that 1000 attack to close out more games. It might not sound super exciting, but I will say that the most important part about Divine Evolution is that it shows that Konami is willing not only to give more god card support outside of that box that we've been reviewing already, and that Konami has finally acknowledged that the wicked gods or the evil gods even exist in the first place. They also sort of unexpectedly here revealed a retrain for that old Zolga card. I know a lot of you guys probably have no idea what that card is, but this is a new version of it, Zolga The Prophet, a level 4 Earth Fairy with 1700 attack points and 1200 defense. If you control an Earth Fairy monster other than Zolga The Prophet, you can special summon this card from your hand, then look at up to 5 cards from the top of each deck. When a monster normal summoned by tributing this card declares an attack, you can banish this card from your graveyard, destroy that monster, and if you do, inflict 2000 damage to your opponent. You can only use each effect of Zolga the Prophet once per turn, and that is a hard once per turn. The effect on the original Zolga was that when you tribute summoned a monster using the Zolga, you gained 2000 life points, and it was completely terrible. This one does mix that up a little bit. The free special summon is kind of cool, I guess, but man, that graveyard effect is really rough. I mean, it destroys the monster that you summoned using this card, which is really rough in a lot of situations. Yeah, I guess you could trigger some graveyard effects, but there has to be an easier way to do that, you know what I mean? The 2000 damage is not really that big of a deal. The only reason that this card could see play, at least in my opinion, is in decks that want that free special summon and don't really care about the tributing effect. So, for example, a lot of the Madolche cards are Earth Fairies, a lot of the Fluffle cards are Earth Fairies, so if you wanted to play this card in those decks, maybe it wouldn't be like the worst idea in the world. Madolches even could theoretically tribute summon a Madolche Pudding Cess using this card. I'm not sure if that would really be worth it, I don't really see it, but hey, it's whatever, it's an option. This card is a very strange retrain, pretty much out of nowhere, but it is always cool when Konami upgrades an older card that we haven't seen in many years. Zolga was never a card that really anyone played competitively or casually for that matter, but Zolga the Prophet does have a lot more potential. That being said, having more potential than a worthless card is not really that difficult. And finally, we have Millennium Seeker, a level 4 dark spellcaster effect monster with 1000 attack and defense. And let me just say here, I think this card's artwork is very cool. It reminds me a lot of the original series. Let's take a look at what it does. When you take 1000 or more battle or effect damage, you can special summon this card from your hand. You can target one monster in your opponent's graveyard that does not have question mark attack. Your opponent can choose one monster in their deck that does not have question mark attack. If they did not, or if that target's attack is higher than their chosen monsters, special summon that target to your field. Also shuffle their chosen monster, if any, back into the deck. Otherwise, your opponent adds their chosen monster to their hand. You can only use each effect of Millennium Seeker once per turn. This card might look confusing because of all the mentions of question mark attack, but that is simply to clear up any ruling problems that might have happened if they didn't say that. So basically, if you selected a monster with 3000 attack in your opponent's graveyard, your opponent would have the option to choose a monster in their deck, and then if that monster in their deck does not have higher attack than the monster that you targeted, you get to special summon the targeted monster. They don't have to choose a monster from their deck, and maybe they won't if they know they don't have a monster with higher attack, but that's basically how it works. In other words, it's a monster reborn that sometimes doesn't work and is also attached to an effect monster, which is significantly easier to negate than the monster reborn. And yeah, when you describe it that way, it's not very good. If this card was part of an archetype, maybe I would be more optimistic, but as it stands right now, the way I see it is that this is a worse version of Monster Reborn. Yes, you can special summon it for free if you take 1000 damage. Yes, you can maybe get extra information by your opponent revealing a card in their deck, but this thing just seems really bad and way too conditional. Anyway, that is all for today's discussion. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to hopefully reviewing more God card support, maybe Egyptian God card support, but maybe even Evil God support. That would be pretty cool as well. Let me know in the comment section below how you guys feel about these cards, and I'll see you later. Goodbye.